When political characters like Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders come along with extremely polarizing views, it feels like there are a whole lot of crazy people on both the left and the right just waiting to crawl out of the woodwork. But trust me, even the most extreme Bernie bros and Trumplestiltskins have got nothing on some of the most insane political parties of the world. With all the terror and turmoil going on right now, let's put some fun back into politics with our look at the 7 strangest political parties. At 7, the Monster Raving Loony Party. Founded in 1983 by musician David Sutch, also known as Screaming Lord Sutch, the Monster Raving Loonies are a British party who put forward deliberately ridiculous policies as a way of offering a protest vote. One of the Loony Party's earliest members, John Desmond Lewis, stood in the 1981 Crosby by-election under his new name of Tarquin Fin Timblin Bin Win Bim Lim Bus Stop Fatang Old Biscuit Barrel, as an homage to a character from a Monty Python election sketch. Their current policies include legalizing broccoli, replacing the UK's nuclear weapons with a tuning fork, and the introduction of man versus horse competitions at the Olympics. However, in the past, they've put together some genuinely serious policies, including proposals to tackle pollution, child mortality rates, and drunk driving. And even though another of their mantras is the promise that they'll never attempt to achieve any of their goals, some of their wacky proposals did eventually become official UK legislation, including all-day pub drinking hours and passports for pets. Current leader Alan Howling Laud Hope actually won a council seat in 1987, later becoming mayor of Ashburton in 1998. Hope became joint leader of the party after Screaming Lord Sutch's death in 1999, sharing power with his pet cat, Kathmandu, until Kathmandu's suspicious death in a road traffic accident 3 years later, joining the likes of JFK, Indira Gandhi, and Abraham Lincoln in the list of great world leaders whose potential was cut short by violent oppression. At 6, the Vegetarian Party. Formed in 1947, the American Vegetarian Party was a third-party group who ran presidential and vice presidential candidates over 5 elections until disbanding in 1964. Although they did champion many progressive ideas such as equal rights, alongside their main aims of reducing meat consumption, the American Vegetarian Party also had a keen distaste for alcohol, tobacco, and the overuse of medication. This is clearly insane. Because if your beliefs prevent from tucking into the exquisite flesh of pigs, cows, and chickens, you're going to need some kind of vice to look forward to at the weekend. Convincing people to eat less meat is a grand and admirable cause, but if you try to take my booze, smokes, and Percocet, I will end you vegetarians and send you back to Vegetaria where you dang well belong. 5. The Unripened Warm Tomato Party. In the Australian Capital Territory elections of 1987, university lecturer Emile Brunoro participated as a regular candidate with sensible policies. But 2 years of political campaigning clearly turned him insane, because at the 1989 election, he rocked up with 6 ridiculous political parties, including one dedicated to tomatoes. The Sun-Ripened Warm Tomato Party was created as a single-issue opposition group aimed at curtailing the growing trend of gas-ripened fake tomatoes, which Sydney foodies claimed tasted worse. Who needs free speech and equal rights when you can have delicious non-gassy produce, right folks? Other parties founded by Mr. Brunoro include the Surprise Party, which promised to introduce more elements of surprise to the elections, and the Party, which promoted more parties for all and aimed to attract people who wanted to have more fun. Sadly, the best any of Emile Brunoro's parties polled was the Sun-Ripened Warm Tomato Party, who was given a paltry 1.17% of the vote. If they're ever going to get into office, they'll really need to catch up fast. At 4, the Lemon Party. Do not Google Lemon Party. I repeat, do not Google Lemon Party. If you think actual lemons are sour, just wait until your eyeballs taste the horrors that await those search results. The actual Lemon Party, or Parti Citron, was a Canadian political organization which lasted for 11 years from 1987 to 1998, and was headed by a leader who called himself Pope Terence I. The party campaigned under the slogan, "For a Bitter Canada," and they pledged to restructure Canada's economy to focus on lemon production, to support global warming to increase Canada's chances of producing lemons, and also enact to repeal the law of gravity, presumably so those delicious lemons didn't get bruised while falling from the tree. They also planned to merge Canada's Great Lakes and abolish Toronto. But despite running for over a decade, they, unsurprisingly, failed to gain more than 0.22% of the vote, which is good news for people living in Toronto, but less so for people who really like lemons. At 3. The McGillicuddy Serious Party. Created in New Zealand in the 1980s, the McGillicuddy Serious Party were basically the Monster Raving Loonies of the Southern Hemisphere. To choose which party members became candidates, their meetings would involve water balloon fights, games of musical chairs, hand-to-hand combat using paper swords, and a Cinderella-style contest where prospective MPs would slip their feet into various shoes of different sizes, and whoever fit the right pair would be the winner. Thankfully, the US doesn't use this method because with his tiny T-Rex limbs, you'd better believe Donald Trump would sweep that nomination in no time. The most votes ever polled by the McGillicuddy Serious Party was 11,714 in 1993, gaining 0.61% of the vote on the back of promises to replace all money with sand, mandatory homosexuality for 1/3 of the population, free poop for everyone, raising the school leaving age to 65, and allowing any mother the chance to kill her children before the age of 18 so long as she used her bare hands. Sounds fair to me. In at 2, the Alzababbas Nation of Oog. If you're up to date with the latest political situation in the UK, you'll know that the leader of the far-right party, Nigel Farage, recently led a successful campaign in persuading the people of Britain to vote to leave the European Union, despite it being known that this was a really bad idea. However, Farage has been less successful in fighting for his own parliamentary seat in his constituency of South Thanet. And this is partly thanks to a number of weird parties formed in the area to campaign against and discredit this gurning xenophobic lizard gimp. One of the strangest was the Alzababbas Nation of Oog, a satirical party led by Zebediah Abu Obadiah as a parody of the way bigoted groups like UKIP portray Muslims. They repeatedly trolled Farage and his party throughout the campaign, and after purchasing UKIP's expired web domain, they redirected visitors to a terrorist-style video demanding that people renounce their white skin. Their literature announced that all hetero marriage would be banned and that bearded families would pay lower taxes, with children and women allowed to wear fake beards to qualify. Their 3 main policies are that thou shalt not paunce, nonce, or steal, that thou shalt not be a see you next Tuesday, and that everyone should take heroin, specifically enjoying a fatal overdose on their 50th birthday. Having written their manifesto on the inside of a chocolate wrapper, the group went on to receive a grand total of 30 votes in the 2015 election. And at number 1, the Party for Bums. The Union of Conscientiously Work-Shy Elements was a Danish party founded in 1979 by comedian Jacob Hogol, who was once quoted as saying, "If work is so healthy, then why not give it to the sick?" In the 1994 Aarhus election, Hogol promised to bring better Christmas presents to the people, improve the weather, add more whales to the local Randers Fjord, and give men the right to impotency. He also initially vowed to reduce the amount of sex taking place in school staff rooms, withdrawing this promise after realizing the opportunity for teachers to bang at lunchtime was a long-established privilege. Amazingly, Hogol was elected to the Danish parliament with 23,253 votes, and his position as the independent candidate often meant he had the deciding vote when Denmark suffered a hung parliament. Although he didn't manage to achieve any of his crazier policies during his time in office, he did manage to push through 3 specific promises, including the provision of Nutella in Army field rations, the building of a public toilet in the Aarhus Public Park, and his pledge to increase the amount of bread given to ducks at the local park. See? Bums really can achieve anything, although it's far easier if you've got a small loan of a few $1,000,000 burning a hole in your back pocket. With that in mind, why not take a look at our video on the 7 mysteries of Donald Trump? Whether you love or hate him, you'll definitely find our investigation into the Donald interesting.